Hello, everyone. I'm Andy, and welcome to Stackin It Up, a series of tech transformation talks about the people, technology, and real-world stories behind digital transformation. Today, we have on Derek Connell. Hey, Derek.
Hey, Andy.
Awesome. Thanks for joining us today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Derek is one of Mark III's senior systems architects and engineers, and with a specialty around data protection specifically. Hey, Derek, tell the audience a little bit about your background and how you got here and what you did before Mark III.
Yeah, sure, Andy. So I came from a Fortune 500 company in the oil and gas space. Started out there actually as an intern while I was studying computer science at Texas Southern University. And when I graduated, I got hired on full time and spent almost a decade and a half total working in various parts of the IT department. So help desk, desktop support, server administration, data security, just basically the whole gamut. So it was great exposure for me, just learning how all the different components and pieces of IT come together to help support the business.
Awesome. And I know you do a lot of things here for sure at Mark III, but data protection is one of your key focus areas. How did you first get interested in data protection? And why is it such a challenging topic for many organizations to build a strategy around?
Sure. Yeah. So somewhere along the way during my matriculation at this company, we merged or were acquired by another oil and gas company. And through that acquisition, some new opportunities became available. And that's where I moved into the data protection and storage team. Um, the thing about it is, data protection allows you to see whenever, let's say, a backup fails, you're able to see almost instantly, if it's the network that had an issue, if there's a storage issue, a hypervisor host, et cetera. So, regardless of which component in your infrastructure is actually broken, backups is one of the first teams to notice it. So that was one thing that I think I have enjoyed and appreciated about um, the data protection teams, that you get full visibility into the environment. I think one of the biggest challenges I've observed as far as handling data protection is a lot of companies don't understand um, their environment. They don't know how much data they really have, how to protect it, what's getting backed up, what's not getting backed up. So there's a lot of challenges around just grouping everything together and just getting a good understanding of their footprint, if you will.
Yeah, it's a great
Um,
point.
yeah, and then the other thing is, as far as data protection is oftentimes looked at as an afterthought, if you will. It's really just an insurance policy to many people, and so a lot of organizations, they push data protection to the back burner. It's not given a lot of priority in terms of you know, spending, budgeting for that. It's oftentimes like, okay, if we have any money left over at the end of the year, then let's maybe throw some money at some tapes. But it's never really incorporated into their overall strategy, which can cause problems down the line, obviously, when it comes to data loss and disaster recovery and things like that.
No, great points. What do you see as some of the biggest trends within data protection today that enterprises should keep their eye on?
One thing I've seen some products starting to integrate with is containers. So integration with Docker, Kubernetes. There's more and more companies that are, or backup um, companies that are starting to provide support for protecting containers. Um, Another trend I'm starting to notice more is backups as a service. So up until, I guess, recently, everything has been centered around deploying an on-prem backup server and then putting like proxies and media agents. Just the traditional way of implementing a data protection strategy, which can be very, a lot of overhead and a lot of expensive components, heavy upfront spending, et cetera. But with backups as a service, you pay for only what you use, and it's a very easy setup because you're basically maybe deploying an agent locally on your servers, and then just sending it to a cloud target. So it's very simple to deploy and easy to manage. And again, not as much upfront cost as with traditional data protection solutions.
Awesome. So it sounds like, simplicity is a key driver, from an industry megatrend standpoint.
Absolutely, but also not only simplicity, but cost, right? Because again, a lot of times organizations, they don't want to spend the money that's required in order to have a solid data protection strategy in place. But package as a service obviously allows you to cut a lot of that upfront investment down to just paying as you use it, as you consume the service.
Awesome. What are some of the more interesting data protection engagements that you've worked on throughout the years?
Well, I think one of the biggest challenging and I guess interesting projects that I did was actually when I first got into data protection. Part of that merger that I mentioned earlier required us to migrate over 2,000 clients from one product to another. So that was something that I took on. I was still kind of learning like the old backup product, and then trying to learn this new one that I was moving everything towards. Um, so it was over 2,000 clients, a lot of tape libraries, a lot of disk targets, um, all the applications that we were protecting, databases, email, et cetera. There's just so many different moving components involved, and I think it gave me a full understanding of what data protection is and what goes into it, because there's a lot of close collaboration, not just inside of the bubble of data protection, but collaborating with other teams, the application teams, the database administrators, the server team, stores, et cetera. So, and then coordinating with all of the business owners and application owners to, understand like what type of protection they required for their systems, what the retention requirements were for their data. A lot of that, um, had to be taken into consideration as far as planning the migration. So I think that was the biggest and I guess most interesting challenge that I've taken on so far.
Yeah, no, that's a big project, especially kind of learning under fire for sure. And
Yeah.
and speaking of ramping up, I know it's been many, many, many years since you were at that point. But if someone is watching and just starting out in their data protection journey, or trying to build some skills, what are some resources and strategies that you'd recommend that they look at just to learn?
Yeah, sure. So, obviously I learned, just by jumping in and just, trial by error, unfortunately, is sometimes the best way to learn, but it can be a lot of pressure. Um, Thank goodness we're in 2020 where there's a lot of online content available. YouTube has a tremendous amount of resources available to learn and understand step by step how to implement different strategies and technologies that are out there for data protection. Um, there's a website out there, www.snia.org, and they provide a lot of good best practices and guides for implementing storage and data protection solutions. So I definitely would recommend referencing that website.
Awesome. Well, thanks for joining us today, Derek. We really appreciate it. Before we sign off, can you tell the audience a little bit about how they can reach you directly if they have questions?
Yeah, absolutely. So you can always reach me via email, derek.connell@mark3sys.com. And then also, I'm fairly active on LinkedIn. So you can visit my LinkedIn profile and send me a message as well.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us. See you
All right.
everyone next time.
See you, Andy. Take care.